Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back with another video here today. And today we're talking about trades and released NFL superstars here that are on the market or could be traded. I kind of just looked up online, like, who are some rumored people that look to be leaving, who are some people that are released that I could talk about. But the release category isn't as exciting as I thought it would be by this point, because I was hoping to do this video right before March 13th, when all the signings and all that technically happened, and now trades are officially happening. So one of my freaking points here is already pretty much done, so it's just basically me talking about it. So we're gonna see how it goes. But before we get started, please leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and comment any suggestions for the channel down below. But without further ado, guys, let's get right into the video. So as I said before, I'm going to talk about some potential trades as well as released NFL people at this moment in time. And I have mostly offensive superstars. I have two secondary people at the end, but there's really not that many rumored people to be traded, or any big names are going to be traded at this point. So it's kind of a little bit more boring in that way. So we'll just kind of go with it. But first of all, if I actually click on my PowerPoint presentation instead of my OBS, we can move forward. First of all, we got the biggest name probably in the kind of category of where are they going to go. Russell Wilson is being released by the Denver Broncos officially March 13th, I believe. And so now he has to go find another home. Where's he going to play? And right now, the QB market for all these teams, especially with such a great QB class coming up, is so crowded. Like, there's so many teams that just like already have like a decent QB, or are waiting to see if the QB, turns out that way, or have the opportunity to draft a really good QB. There aren't many teams that are just like looking for a QB outright, because Patriots and Commanders, they have good draft picks. Chicago, they have a choice of Caleb Williams or Justin Fields, basically. So there's not many teams that are, for one, in a not good draftable position, which even then is a deep class. Most of the okay QBs are going to still be there in the first round. So that's kind of tough in that way. But a later round, first round pick, and somebody who needs a QB. And so I only came up with a couple answers here for Russell Wilson to really find somewhere. And that's the Pittsburgh Steelers being my number one option. I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only obvious answer, to be honest with you. I don't think any other team can realistically pick him up. The only other person I thought about are the Giants, and that's only because I think the Giants are also, these are both older franchises with, I think, older ways of thinking. So maybe a QB like Russell Wilson works in that kind of system. But Pittsburgh's the only one that I think is even logical, because they have a later round pick, so they won't get an ideal candidate. Maybe they still believe in Kenny Pickett, but maybe giving Russell Wilson an opportunity there to maybe teach him, possibly. Even then, I'm not too sure. And then you got New York Giants, who I think are just looking to get things back into shape for their team, but I don't think they're also a franchise that's really in a position to be drafting a QB at this point. So these are the two teams I'm coming up with. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh by a long shot, but honestly, I can't see many other teams picking him up at this point, unless they just want to train up their new QB that they draft or something, which I guess is possible since Russell Wilson has a bunch of money already. He doesn't really care about a big contract, since the Denver Broncos will be paying him for the next freaking forever. Either way, this is my choices right here. But next up, we have the one that, unfortunately, when I made this point, was just notified to me that it is official. The Browns were my second choice, but they weren't my first. The Browns are the top landing spot for Jerry Jeudy. I've heard these rumors for a while in the circulating fan base that Jerry Jeudy be going somewhere, and I will say Cleveland Browns have been in that conversation for a minute, because of just they have a good team, and the receiver base could be only bolstered by it. So take that as you will. How I feel about it, I feel like the Broncos are finally taking the steps forward, saying we need to start younger, we need to get rid of cap room, we need to make sure that we're getting as much capital as possible to build this team for the future, and I respect it totally. I'm going to miss Jerry Jeudy, but also get it that he hasn't been producing to the level we hoped he would be. So Cleveland's going to benefit a lot from him. I hope they are able to make a big push with him. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to fit amazing in that system. Honestly, he's one of my favorite landing spots for him. So I appreciate Jerry Jeudy going to Cleveland here. The only other spot I really thought was going to be really possible was like the Panthers, who could always just stack up that, or the Bears. But the Browns are one of the better spots for Jerry Jeudy to be going. Next up, of course, we're going Broncos. Now, getting all of them out of the way. Justin Simmons. Unfortunately, Broncos are releasing him. Longtime Broncos superstar here. and it's time to save some cap room and kind of build up for the future. He's going to do excellent no matter where he goes. He's going to be a very big prospect for anybody. But also, I think he's got a little bit of time left in his time here, so he's looking to the future of teams that are going to do really, really well. I consider the Eagles, I consider the Bills, because their teams are ready to win now. But I think there's other players that might end up going those spots. Well, I think Justin Simmons, for one, going to be looking for a good contract, but two, looking for a place that's going to be really big potential in the future. And I think the Colts are a sneaky good team of somebody who's going to be looking to boost up their secondary role, as well as the Rams, who always need some help in that defense, especially in the secondary. These are two teams that I think are improving enough to be actually big contenders for a Super Bowl run, that would love to pay a little bit of money for Justin Simmons for next few years, because they're going to have a little bit of time. Because Justin Simmons is not necessarily young, but he's also not the oldest person in the room. So I think the Colts are going to pick him up, but honestly, I would not hate seeing the Rams pick him up as well. These are both teams I think are explosive. Would love to see a bolster in their defense, especially in the secondary, and Justin Simmons would add a big cornerstone to that defense. Then we got Justin Fields, the other QB that's really going to be, or the other, I guess one of three QBs I'll be talking about here today. But the other big talk QB, where's he going to go? Is he going to stay in Chicago? Is he going to stay? Is he going to get traded? I personally think Chicago should keep him and just build that team up even more. That's what I think, just because I think Justin Fields needs that shot. But I get it, whatever. I'm also not a big fan of Caleb Williams, so if their options are Caleb Williams or Justin Fields, I say you go Justin Fields. But that's beside the point. I think they're going to trade him away, though. I think they will. I don't think they should, is the big cornerstone here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the obvious answer, Falcons. I mean, again, there's not many teams out there that really need a QB, and the Falcons are one of them. They're in an awkward spot, too, of like, will they get kind of a mid-level first-rounder QB, or do they want to pick up Justin Fields? Kind of works either way. I think the Atlanta Falcons are probably more likely to draft one. Again, I don't see many teams doing it, but the Giants are another team I could see doing it. The only reason I don't have them first is because Daniel Jones is still there, and I don't know if they really want to take a shot at Justin Fields and Daniel Jones on the contract at the same time. So take that as you will. I don't know. Throw it up in there, never know, but this is what I'm going with for now. We'll see. Alvin Kamara has been a rumored trade guy for a minute now. We'll see where he actually ends up landing. I don't think he's actually going to end up being traded. I think the Saints are just going to forever be in cap hell for at least a long while, but apparently this would be a big fix to it. If he does get traded, I do believe the Denver Broncos are the best candidates, just because Sean Payton's history with Alvin Kamara. I think they need a better increase in their running back position. But the Vikings are also another team I think could benefit a lot from a good run game, and Alvin Kamara could provide that. He's also good in the receiving game as well. So I think the Minnesota Vikings adding him to the team would be really good, especially for a team that's probably in a win now situation, but they got to outpace the rest of their division here pretty soon, or either that or just concede the division. But I think they're ready to win now, so give it to the Vikings. But I'm just a biased Broncos fan who wants to see Alvin Kamara in Denver. Now, I did add Mac Jones here. I'll tell you why I added Mac Jones here. He's been rumored to be traded because pretty much Patriots have given up on him. He's probably going to get a bag of Skittles for him. But I figured he's a notable enough name, whatever. Might as well kind of guess where he's going to land. He's going to be a backup, by the way. This is a big notable thing. All these teams, I'm going to say, no team's going to pick him up. With how good and stacked the QB market is, he's going to be basically a forever backup QB. I think he solidified that for himself. But I think he will go to a different spot, being traded for like a 7th rounder or something like that. The Rams are one, I think, behind Matthew Stafford. It seems like a system that they would probably benefit with a Mac Jones type character. His 49ers have picked up younger QBs that used to have a small shine of light. So 49ers are also a possibility. And the Seattle Seahawks. I put the Seattle Seahawks slightly above the 49ers here just because I think the Seahawks are also in a weird situation. But also, I think they'd rather just take a random shot at a late round, first round. It's not even late rounds, mid round, first round QB. So take that as you will. But I think the Rams will probably randomly pick them up and be like, all right, get behind Matthew Stafford for a couple of years while we figure out how to replace him in the future. So there you go. Mac Jones is there, and that's my big guess there for Mac Jones. Next up, we got Kevin Byrd, who it was in Philadelphia, it was released from Philadelphia, and now it's looking to find another team that can be somewhere. He's a strong safety, so we're talking about some safeties here. I realize there's three safeties, not just 2 safeties. There's 3 safeties, but beside the point. He's a tough one. Again, he's one of those more veteran type players who's looking to get somewhere and possibly win, get a good contract, stuff like that. I think the Packers and Bears are two teams that could use a lot of boost in the secondary. It's kind of, they both have been diminishing over time. The Bears have a great defensive line as well as the Packers, but they could use a little bit more bolstering in the secondary and a little bit more reliability. And again, they're teams that are looking to win here pretty soon. So why not pick up somebody like Byrd and just, you know, be done with it? So that's my guess there, as well as Quandre Diggs. I think this man is probably one of the better secondary players out there right now that's looking to win now. That's why I saved my Bills and Eagles picks for right now. I think he's going to be a Buffalo Bill. I think that the Buffalo Bills need to do whatever they can to keep the holes patched for their team. That way they can make that big playoff run. They have very limited time left in their Super Bowl little gap unless they figure out some things with the future of their team and some of the aging players they have. They got very few more shots, but maybe something like this could send them over the edge. Well, the Eagles, again, they just got rid of Byrd, so do you put Diggs in there now too? I don't think that's as likely, but I think they would benefit from doing it. So those are my two guesses there for the two defensive players in the whole scheme of releases and trades. Either way, beside the point, guys, there wasn't really much else in terms of big players I could really talk about that were drafted, or not drafted, but released, or that could be traded. I'll be honest, unless I'm going to be speculating and say, oh my gosh, you know, you could see fucking Patrick Mahomes get traded. No, not at all. There's not many players I'm like excited about saying, okay, there's some prospects, because there's not much talk about it going behind the scenes. So either way, hope you enjoyed the small little video here. See you guys later. StraightA Dawson out.